Hey everybody, it's Party Elite, and we are finally back with some more Total Breakdown. After an extremely long hiatus, I am finally picking up the pace on one of my favorite segments on the channel. If you'd like to see more, remember to let me know by dropping a like and a comment down below, especially important as I try to see how interested you guys are in this coming back. I've kept you waiting for very long, and I apologize for that wait, but I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's kick things off with this great battle between the Empire led by Oroka Boss and the Dark Elves led by Lican, Lupin. We begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and this battle does have a little bit of everything in it, including some sneaky deployment. Let's start, though, with the Empire. Karl Franz is in charge up in the air, and he's brought with him a Jade Wizard who is on horseback over here. You can see the front line consists primarily of spearmen with shields. They all have their shields to try and stay safe from Dark Elf ranged capabilities. We have some spearmen over here as well, and we also have a lone unit of swordsmen to this flank back here. Then, back here, you can see we've got 4 units of Pistoliers hoping to get in and cause some harassment, while either flank is backed by these Empire Knights, hoping to hold off anything that might come in from the sides, but also to move in with their own aggression when the time comes. And up front over here, on the topic of aggression, we have the Steam Tank, hoping to get some early damage in, and of course, able to stand around and fight in melee as well if push comes to shove. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, the Dark Elves are being led by none other than Lokir Felhart, who has brought with him a Sorceress of Beasts, both of them on foot. In the middle here, we've got the Hargoneth Executioner Regiment of Renown, the Blades of the Blood Queen, and on either flank you can see a pair of Black Ark Corsairs. Back here as well, we have the Helleburnai, the Dreadspear Regiment of Renown that can cause poison damage, and we have the Black Ark Corsairs with handbows back here as well, as the only real ranged contingent on foot at least, while either flank here has these Cold One Knights, Anti-Large, and Armor Piercing, while over here we have the Slaanesha's Harvesters, Doomfire Warlock Regiment of Renown tucked away in the trees with their tremendous physical resistance of 40%, while all the way over here you can see we've got these Dark Riders with repeater crossbows hoping to get some ranged harassment done, while all the way back here those Dark Riders with shields probably hoping to push in and shut down something, some artillery perhaps, or maybe some ranged units when the opportunity presents itself. The first opportunity though is for these Pistoliers as they move forward to try and deal with the Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows. You can see they're moving in with full aggression here, all of these units, because they have spotted the Dark Riders and they want to shut that harassment down as early as possible. And you can hear the Steam Tank firing away. You saw the shot go in there, taking down some of these Cold One Knights. A good idea. They're trying to eliminate that very fast-moving anti-large armor-piercing capability nice and early, and these Pistoliers here moving in. Steam Tank getting that shot in as well. A nice hit there, dropping a bunch more of these Cold One Knights, but in come these Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows, trying to get some shots in while the Pistoliers respond as well. Of course, you can see a couple of shots land there, do a little bit of damage, but the Pistoliers able to fire while moving, dancing around over here, getting some shots in, while the Steam Tank also getting some shots in. Those Cold One Knights having a terrible day right now, but the Pistoliers, you can see here, very nicely moving back, dancing around, getting these Dark Riders with repeater crossbows to lose about 25% of their health already. And meanwhile, you can see we have a Pharaoh Manticore being brought to the field by that Sorceress of Beasts, hoping to use that airborne speed to close the gap to some of these Pistoliers, I think, and shut them down and make sure they're not able to get all this damage in, because take a look at that. These Cold One Knights are not having a good time now, being singled out by all of these Pistoliers. One of these Pistoliers is going to peel off and chase after the Dark Rider with repeater crossbow unit. They're hoping to eliminate that unit once and for all. They are routing, but it'd be great if they could be destroyed. And take a look at that. These Cold One Knights are rampaging. They want to give chase. They want to shut these guys down, so Karl Franz decides to come in here to intercept if necessary, while back over here you can see the Pharaoh Manticore closing the gap to the Pistoliers, and the Pistoliers are running away as quickly as possible, but that might not be good enough as that Manticore comes diving in, trying to knock these guys off their horses. Beautifully done over there. That Manticore engages these Pistoliers in melee, and these Pistoliers will have a terrible time in melee. Of course, that is not what they're built for. They need to get out of there. Meanwhile, back over here you can see we've got Karl Franz up in the air, trying to, I think, dive into the Cold One Knights there and scare them off. They are routing as that rampage gave up. They are routing now, and we've got the Spearmen just making sure they finish the job off there, scare those Cold One Knights off, as back over here we just catch the tail end of the surprise. These Dark Riders with shields push out from the trees and charge into the Jade Wizard, but you can see we have these Pistoliers back here ready to respond right away. We have a bunch of Spearmen in the area as well. We've got these Pistoliers all firing away. The Jade Wizard as well, able to hold his own for a little while as the Dark Riders are having a terrible time. Up over here, meanwhile, you can see we've got these Spearmen with shields pushing up, and these Spearmen with shields as well pushing up, trying to hold back some of these Cold One Knights, spotting these Slaanesha's Harvesters as well, and pushing them back as well. Those Slaanesha's Harvesters, again, with their physical resistance, can turn around and get some nice rear charges charges if they wanted to and try and shut some of that nonsense down. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Feral Manticore is rampaging. Karl Franz is pushing forward to try and assist these Pistoliers, while back here these Dark Riders with shields have given up on the fight more or less immediately. They are wavering. They're about to rout. Some more shots coming through from these Pistoliers, and the front lines are getting very close to engaging. You can see the steam tank is pushing forward to make sure it gets a charge in as well, as Karl Franz here pulling back away from that Feral Manticore, maybe hoping to get some rear charges in of his own as these front lines begin to engage. And again, these Spearmen are not going to have a good time. The steam tank doing a decent bit of work there on that charge. The Pistoliers as well coming and getting some shots in, but the Blades of the Blood Queen are hoping to dive in and just absolutely butcher these Spearmen with shields. Back here, meanwhile, you can see Lokir Felhart is pushing in as well, I think hoping to close the gap to maybe the Jade Wizard or something. Not entirely sure. He's just kind of dancing through, while back over here you can see we have these swordsmen pinned in place by the Black Ark Corsairs, and the Doomfire Warlocks here. Slenesh's Harvesters are going to push in with a most glorious charge, and they're going to devastate the swordsmen. They're going to destroy their will to fight. Look at that charge as they come crashing through, tossing these swordsmen back, flinging them in the air, and doing a lot of hurt, primarily actually to morale. And look at that. Just like that, these swordsmen giving up on the fight where they were holding on for a little while. And back here, meanwhile, we have another Feral Manticore being brought in as this Feral Manticore dives into Karl Franz, and Karl Franz is now surrounded by the Helleburnei and this Feral Manticore. This second Feral Manticore up in the air, looking for a target to dive into, while back here you can see the Pistoliers still busy with the Dark Riders with repeater crossbow that decided to return to the fight, but again, very quickly taken care of. Those gunshots drop those Dark Riders' morale and health, and they are now leaving the field, but you can see the Feral Manticore over here pushing in to try and get involved, while back in the middle over here you can see the steam tank going toe-to-toe with the Feral Manticore, as over here we've got these Spearmen with the shields closing the gaps to these Black Ark Corsairs with their handbows, hoping to shut down that range support, while back over here you can see these swordsmen have given up on the fight. Again, those charges were beautifully used to get these guys to completely give up and leave the fight, as back over here you can see the Slenesh's Harvesters as well as the Cold One Knights, again anti-large and armor-piercing as they are, moving in towards the Empire Knights, hoping to shut them down once and for all, to remove that high mobility capability from this Empire army. You can see at the same time we've got the Sorceress of Beasts pulling back, trying to provide some assistance if possible. In a moment's time, going to use a little bit of magic to help this engagement out, while off in the distance there you can see the Pistoliers are being chased by the Feral Manticore, and they're going to have a terrible time. They need to turn around and gun this Feral Manticore down, while Karl Franz has to stop providing support there and needs to pull back over here to provide some support, because you can see the steam tank is actually having a terrible time. We've got Lokir Felhart in there, we've got the Feral Manticore, we've got the Hargoneth Executioners, Regiment of Renown, the Helleburnei as well. The steam tank is not having a good time. Meanwhile, over here you can see we get Word of Pain, reducing the melee attack to nothing on these Empire Knights, as we have the Cold One Knights as well as the Slenesh's Harvesters closing the gap. In response, you do see a cast from the Jade Wizard over here, trying to keep these Empire Knights alive for, as long as possible, popping regrowth there, but the Cold One Knights and Slenesh's Harvesters here going to close the gap, especially with the assistance of Pan's impenetrable pelt there, giving them that extra speed. That touch of physical resistance means that these Empire Knights do not stand a chance. Very quickly you can see they decide to rout. They're going to give up on the fight. And over here as well you can see that Feral Manticore has done a decent bit of work here, terrifying some of these Pistoliers off. Some of these Pistoliers are turning around, getting some shots in, but they do have to be very careful with their ammunition as well. They're at about 50% ammo right now, while over here you can see this Feral Manticore very close to dying. It is low on health. It has been summoned to the field, so it will die a natural death, I suppose we can call it, while Karl Franz has decided to get involved over here, diving into the Sorceress of Beasts. He's decided that he does not want to deal with enemy magic anymore, and you can see it is at this stage of the battle that murderous prowess and murderous mastery actually kicks in. So very late in the game, one could consider, after the frontline engagements have been over for a while now, do we get that kicking off. And meanwhile over here you can see we've got the Doomfire Warlocks coming in to charge into these Pistoliers and finish them off, but you can see those shots coming in from behind them as well, trying to cause a fair bit of damage. Again, that 40% physical resistance is absolutely huge, so trying to scare these guys off as well, but you can see they close the gap into these Pistoliers over here, and the Pistoliers are of course not having a good time whatsoever. We have the Empire Knights here though as well, trying to push in, close that gap, and shut down those Slenesh's Harvesters, while back here we do have some spears coming in as well as Karl Franz up in the air. Meanwhile, all the way off to the distance over here we have like a separate battle of its own going down, as the steam tank is giving chase to these Black Ark Corsairs with their handbows. We do have these spears as well giving chase. We've got the Empire Knights pushing in for charges as well, while back over here you can see Lokir Felhart alongside these Cold One Knights, the Helleburnei, and the Blades of the Blood Queen just closing the gap. They have barely taken any damage. Those high tier units, no damage on them more or less, while all the way back over here you can see we've got these Spearmen giving up on the fight against the Black Ark Corsairs, while these Spearmen are kind of just sitting there looking pretty, not doing anything. They need to be brought back. The Empire needs to regroup over here, otherwise these units are being wasted. The spearmen, these swordsmen as well, they need to be pulled into these engagements. And over here as well, you can see these Black Ark Corsairs are coming out on top over these spearmen in the middle there, while back over here, finally, the Doomfire Warlocks, the Slaanesha's Harvesters, are being made to give up on the fight. A beautiful rear charge came in from the Empire Knights, and the shots coming in from multiple directions. The Jade Wizard as well, you know, trying to hold his own there, causing a fair bit of damage. And Slaanesha's Harvesters here made to rout. Beautifully done there. Karl Franz also in the area, needs to dive in potentially to finish them off, but take a look at that. In comes the Shatter. The Feral Manticore, meanwhile, out of control, rampaging, willing to dive into any enemy whenever possible, as we over here see the Cold One Knights actually turning around and pushing in, I think chasing after the steam tank, but maybe looking for the opportunity to take care of these Empire Knights as well. But everything turns around now and goes in towards these Cold One Knights to try and finish them off, quickly deciding to pull back instead as Lokir Felhart and his troop here close the gaps. Over here, meanwhile, Feral Manticore about to die, being shot up. Of course, it's been summoned as well, so it will die a, slow, decaying death, as well as over here you can see we've got these spearmen turning around, getting a nice charge over here, but a very risky charge. Those Blades of the Blood Queen are going to make very, very quick work of them, but in comes Karl Franz as well, and in comes some magical support in this giant clump over here with Earthblood, trying to keep everybody alive. Stand Your Ground is active as well, just keeping melee defense up, keeping leadership up as well, trying to hold their own over here. And you can take a look at these Black Ark Corsairs very quickly losing morale as these gunshots come in from these Pistoliers behind them. The Cold One Knights as well dropping health pretty quickly. The steam tank comes in, brings in that terror. Karl Franz, of course, bringing in that terror as well. And take a look here. Lokir Felhart very low on morale as well, using Dreaded Duelist to keep his melee attack and melee defense up. Karl Franz as well trying to stay in there, trying to scare these guys off, but you can see the Cold One Knights now are rampaging despite their low morale, and the Jade Wizard keeping his distance over here, using the Power Stone, hoping to get some more magic in there to try and keep all of these Empire troops alive, as these Pistoliers are using the last of their ammunition, trying to get some damage in here. And look at that, terror kicking in on these Cold One Knights. The Black Ark Corsairs might start giving up as well pretty soon. We've got this rout happening over here off in the distance. These Black Ark Corsairs with their handbows are being chased down by those spears, while over here we've got some decent routing going on. Lokir Felhart, though, willing to fight once more. He is rallying a little bit as these Blades of the Blood Queen are causing a tremendous amount of pain to the Empire troops. You can see the Empire Knights here pulling back, these Pistoliers as well, pulling away to the side a little bit. I think trying to keep a distance from these Black Ark Corsairs with their handbows and their range capabilities, as these Hellebranai decide to dive in again into that steam tank, who is sort of dancing around, pushing and shoving wherever possible. Again, anti-infantry and armor piercing, so capable of a lot in an ideal situation. And you can see over here these Black Ark Corsairs with handbows just holding still for a moment too long, and the spears are able to close the gap, as Karl Franz over here once again popping Foe Seeker now, trying to keep that vigor up, I think, as he goes toe-to-toe with Lokir Felhart. And take a look at these charges coming in from multiple directions. These Empire Knights very nicely used over here, tossing these units around, getting a great deal of damage both to health and to morale, trying to get these guys to give up on the fight. The Hellebranai as well eat a beautiful rear charge from these Empire Knights. Their spears do nothing when they're facing the wrong way, of course, and these Blades of the Blood Queen as well take a decent bit of damage to morale and to health. So beautifully done there, wonderfully choreographed, I would say, but Karl Franz is in a bit of a trouble spot over here. He's at 50% health. He needs to take to the air as quickly as possible before he gets dropped, and you can see he's trying to do exactly that, pulling back into safety. Lokir trying to give chase, but he does get held in place, I think, by the Empire Knights over there, and you can see these Spearmen here falling apart to the Blades of the Blood Queen, while over here we've got these Spearmen able to close the gap to these Black Ark Corsairs as these Pistoliers return out of ammunition, needing to charge into melee, as over here we have another beautiful charge as these Empire Knights just dive through the Black Ark Corsairs over here. I wouldn't say dive into, they dive right through them, trampling them, tossing them, getting a great deal of hurt done once again, just trying to eliminate this unit once and for all. Meanwhile, you can see a complete disengage happening over here. The steam tank trying to pull back, all of these units routing and giving up, pulling back. Karl Franz as well pulling away as these these Pistoliers mistook them for Empire Knights as they charged in rather boldly, needing to pull back into safety though, as the Hellebranai are there ready to respond. So you can see these guys are very low on morale right now, very close to giving up on the fight, as over here we actually have terror kicking in with these Black Ark Corsairs with handbows thanks to Karl Franz, but the Spearmen here continuing to give chase, as over here we have a bit of a regroup happening between the Empire Knights and the Pistoliers, having taken care of these Black Ark Corsairs. You can see though this troop still very much active, still very much at full health there. Lokir Felhart, he is terrifying, but the Jade Wizard is ready to provide some support as well to try and bring some health back to these units, and you can see some very beautiful choreography here once again, and that's all I can call it, choreography. This is truly like a dance here, as we have all of these Black Ark Corsairs diving into the Spearmen with shields, the Spearmen with shields with their high melee defense, hoping hoping to hold their ground as we have all of these Empire Knights, all of these Pistoliers looking down and now finally getting a charge and moving in very aggressively, hoping to get a great charge. And take a look at this. In come the Empire Knights, in come the Pistoliers, in comes Karl Franz, the Jade Wizard as well, getting a good dive in. Steam Tank dives in as well, and right away as this clump forms, we're going to get a great, fantastic cast of Earthblood, of course, keeping everything alive as everything else gets terrified from the enemy here. Look at that beautiful work. As health gets replenished, the enemy decides to give up on the fight, and in the middle here we still have Lokir Felhart himself, the Blades of the Blood Queen, as well as the Helleburnei Eye, still willing to fight, still willing to put up a fight, but as these guys begin to shatter and rout, it might be over for the Dark Elves here. And take a look at this. Take a look at how they get sort of a full surround being set up over here. We've got these units all moving in to get a box basically around this central Dark Elf force. It's most cinematic here as Lokir is looking for an opportunity, trying to figure out which way to dive, which way to go, where to attack, as the Empire just forms up around what's left of the Dark Elf army. Nothing left in the distance. Everything is shattered or routing. The Steam Tank is going to get some shots in as well. Take a look at that, firing from that safe distance over here. A lot of ammunition left on that Steam Tank, and in comes another shot. A great hit over there, toppling some of these Blades of the Blood Queen. There's not much Lokir can do. Still putting in a brave charge as the Empire surrounds these troops. One more shot from the Steam Tank, perhaps. There it goes, another good hit, some more Blades of the Blood Queen completely destroyed, and as Lokir Felhart brings in that final charge, you can see the Empire has nicely surrounded him. The Steam Tank continues to fire, pulls back to create some distance, getting ready for maybe some more shots, some charges coming in from the side, but a Pyrrhic victory as the Dark Elves surrender. What a great battle here that really spread across the entire battlefield with multiple stages. First, we saw the skirmishing standoff between the Pistoliers and Dark Riders with crossbows. Then we saw the rear charge trap get sprung, front lines met, and the Empire more or less disintegrated, barely managing to hold itself together with great help from Karl Franz and the Steam Tank. And in the end, a small contingent of elite Dark Elves and Lokir were the only ones left standing. Fully surrounded, danger in all directions, they had to decide to surrender. Now, if we learned anything here, it's the power of the pistol and the power of charging in from multiple directions to break your enemy's will to fight. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. Send them in through the Discord, link to that is in the description down below, or through the submission link down there as well, a separate website. I do think this is one of the best ways to learn, and it's nice to highlight such amazing battles from the community. I also want to give a big thanks to all of my patrons and channel members for supporting this channel every month, making a huge difference, keeping us alive and running smoothly. And just a reminder to like this video and drop a comment if you'd like to see more Total Breakdown. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the battlefield.